The rain was pouring heavily that night in Seoul. Him and Yoongi said, his voice deep and cold, like the weather outside. Himmin looked up, eyes wide. He was sitting on the floor, his knees pulled to his chest. His soft brown hair was messy, and his eyes were red from crying. "You belong to me now," Yoongi said, walking closer. Himmin shook his head slowly. "Why me?" he whispered. Yoongi didn't answer. He threw a contract on the table. It had Himmin's name on it, and it said one thing: sold to Min Yoongi, Mafia King of Seoul. 1 week earlier, Himmin was working at a small flower shop. His life was simple. He loved arranging flowers and making people smile. He lived with his sick mother and worked hard to pay for her medicines. But everything changed that day. A group of men in black suits came to the shop. They didn't say a word. They just handed Himmin an envelope and left. Inside the envelope was a letter, "Greater than your father owes us money. He ran away. You have to pay his debt or come with us."
Jaemin didn't even know his father. He had left when Jaemin was 5. Now, because of him, Jaemin was in trouble. He didn't have the money. He didn't have a choice. So he went with them.
They took him to a mansion. It was big, cold, and filled with guards. Himmin felt like a prisoner. Then he saw him. Min Yoongi, the Mafia King. He was sitting on a gray leather sofa, a glass of wine in his hand. His eyes were dark and unreadable. "You're Himmin," Yoongi said. Himmin nodded slowly. "Yes." Yoongi stood up and walked toward him. "You will live here now. Work for me. Stay close to me." "Why?" Himmin asked, scared. "Because I said so," Yoongi replied. The first days were hard. Himmin had his own room, but he couldn't go outside. Guards watched him all the time. He felt trapped. Yoongi didn't talk much. He just gave orders. But sometimes Himmin caught him staring. His eyes softened when he looked at Himmin, but only for a second. One evening, Himmin was sitting in the garden. The sky was full of stars. "You're not eating," Yoongi said, appearing behind him. "I'm not hungry," Himmin replied softly. Yoongi sat beside him. "I don't want you to die. You're mine now." "I'm not an object," Himmin whispered. Yoongi didn't answer, but he looked at Himmin, really looked. "You're braver than I thought," Yoongi said. Time passed. Yoongi changed. He started having breakfast with Himmin. Sometimes they watched movies together in silence. Himmin saw a new side of Yoongi. He was not just a cold mafia king. He played the piano at night. He loved cats. He read poetry. "Why are you being nice to me?" Himmin asked one day. "Because you remind me of someone I lost," Yoongi said quietly. "Who?" "My brother. He died because of me." Himmin didn't say anything, but that night he left. A small white flower on Yoongi's piano. It meant peace. But peace didn't last long. Another mafia group attacked the mansion. Himmin was in the garden when he heard gunshots. He ran inside looking for Yoongi. "Yoongi!" Himmin screamed. He found him, bleeding from his arm, still fighting. "Stay back!" Yoongi shouted. But Ḥimen didn't listen. He grabbed a vase and hit one of the attackers. Yoongi finished the fight. Later, in the bedroom, Yoongi was getting his wound treated. You could have died, he told Ḥimen. So could you? Ḥimen replied. You're crazy, Yoongi said, smiling a little. You started it, Ḥimen whispered, blushing. Yoongi looked at him. Then, slowly, he leaned in. Ḥimen, he said. Ḥimen's heart was racing. Yes, can I kiss you? Ḥimen nodded. Their lips met, soft and warm. It felt like fire and ice melting together. After that, everything changed. Yoongi became more protective. He told the guards to be extra careful. He let Ḥimen sleep in his bed. Sometimes they would lie there and just talk. Do you still think I'm scary? Yoongi asked once. Only a little, Ḥimen teased. Good, I'm still the Mafia King, Yoongi smirked. But you're also the man I ... like Ḥimen whispered. Yoongi froze. Then he smiled, a real smile. I like you too, Ḥimen. But not everyone was happy. One of Yoongi's men, Taesung, didn't trust Ḥimen. He's a weakness, Taesung said. Your enemies will use him. Yoongi got angry. If anyone touches him, I will burn the world down. One of Yoongi's men, Taesung, didn't trust Ḥimen. He's a weakness, Taesung said. Your enemies will use him. Yoongi got angry. If anyone touches him, I will burn the world down. But Taesung was right. Ḥimen was kidnapped 2 days later. Yoongi lost control. He searched everywhere, burned down hideouts, questioned rival gangs. Finally, he found Ḥimen in a warehouse, tied up and bruised. Ḥimen, Yoongi shouted, running to him. Yoongi, Ḥimen whispered weakly. Yoongi held him close. I'm here. I've got you. He carried him out, fighting anyone who tried to stop him. Back at the mansion, Ḥimen was healing. You saved me, Ḥimen said. I almost lost you, Yoongi replied. You won't, Ḥimen said, taking his hand. Yoongi looked into his eyes. Marry me. Ḥimen blinked. What? I want to protect you forever. Be with me. Not just as someone I own, but as someone I love. Ḥimen smiled through tears. Yes. 1 year later, Ḥimen stood in the same garden where he first met Yoongi. Now it was filled with white roses. Guests were clapping. Yoongi walked to him, dressed in a black suit. You look beautiful, Yoongi said. So do you, Ḥimen replied. They held hands, looking into each other's eyes. From enemies to lovers, from strangers to soulmates. Ḥimen was no longer just a boy sold to the Mafia King. He was now his king's heart and the Mafia King. He was no longer just a ruler of crime. He was Ḥimen's everything. The end.